The second presidential debate just 2 hours away, and Democrats are landing blows even before their candidate takes the stage. Our next guest says Obama's tax plan is the one that's going to hurt taxpayers most. Grover Norquist is the president of Americans for Tax Reform. Grover, I want to start with this criticism of Romney's tax plan. It's pretty darn effective. It's coming out and saying that it is the intention of the Republicans to tax the middle class and to give the money to wealthy people. What do you say?
Well, what Romney's talking about doing, his plan is to cut tax rates across the board 20%. Reagan cut them across the board 25%. John F. Kennedy cut them across the board 22%. Romney's also said that he doesn't want to increase the deficit, so one, we'll have more growth, more people will have jobs, and so you'll have more revenue that comes that way. It'll also eliminate some deductions and credits for high-income people. What the Democrats don't understand is economic growth brings in more revenue, so they just assume that's zero.
And you don't have to talk about dollar-for-dollar replacement.
Of course not. And frankly, I think you should just cut rates across the board 22%, period, and not get rid of deductions.
You want no taxes at all. Come on. I mean, in your perfect world, the government pays us every single day, I think. I think that's the way it works.
But
let's get those two.
Growth is key.
Growth is absolutely key, and that's something we're still waiting to see.
Yeah.
I want to get to what you say is a very subtle change in Obama's statements about what his tax policy will be if he is reelected.
It's fascinating to watch some folks in the press and the Obama campaign want every specific from Romney's tax plan. What Obama has done is something very, very dramatic. His promise to all of us 4 years ago was he would never raise taxes on anyone, any kind of taxes, excise taxes, sales taxes, income taxes, on anyone who earned less than $250,000, full stop. Okay. Now, he broke that many times with the Obamacare health care bill. But the new promise, starting August 8th in Grand Junction, Colorado, instead 6 or 7 times since. So it's in the teleprompter. This isn't off the top of his head.
So he said this repeatedly.
Right. And that is, my plan is that if you earn less than $250,000 a year, I won't raise your income taxes next year. 2 changes. He's only promising not to raise income taxes, leaving a value-added tax or any other number of taxes. And 2, the commitment's good for the year 2013.
What happens after that?
Ollie, anything he wants. He will have kept his word if he doesn't raise taxes in 2013. Remember, allowing the Bush tax cuts to lapse and a $500 billion tax increase, in his mind, isn't a tax increase. But after a year, he can raise any taxes he wants.
And anything could happen. So I think middle class be on notice. You're saying it's Obama who's going to raise your taxes, not Romney.
And he's telling you that. Obama's telling you that.
And the media is not reporting it. As per usual, let's talk about the impact on small business. This was part of the vice presidential debate. What is the impact on small business? And part of that discussion depends on how you define small business.
Well, the other is, our friend Biden says 97% of small businesses won't be hit. Well, there's another fact that's sort of true. There's another fact that's also true. 1 million small businesses will be hit, because there are many, many small businesses. There are 1 million small businesses across the country that will pay the higher taxes, as high as 44% under Obama's tax increases. The fact that that's a small percentage of the many small businesses in the country doesn't get around the fact that it's 1 million small businesses.
A lot of people, a lot of jobs hanging in the balance, and that's the real problem there. If you raise taxes on small business, then they tend not to grow. They don't add bodies. They don't add people, and that's something that's on the table right now. The other thing on the table, the fiscal cliff looming. Look, this is going to hit a lot of people. 90%, I believe, of Americans would be paying more taxes, an average of $3,500 extra over the course of the year. Do you have confidence that Congress is going to do something about this? People tell me they believe something's in the works, that Congress is going to get together with some sort of deal. Do you see that?
It depends on the election. It's all determined by the election. If Romney, Republican House or Senate, they'll hold a press conference saying all of the lapsing tax cuts for next year are continued for a year or 2, during which time they do tax reform. So there'll be no tax increase if the Romney wins with the Republican House and Senate. If Obama's elected...
But that may not happen, Grover. I mean, you can't count on a Republican House and Senate. You can't even count on a Republican presidency.
If Obama wins the presidency or there's a Democratic Senate, they could block the continuation of the Bush tax cuts. However, what happened 2 years ago was you had a Democratic Senate, Democratic President. What did they do? They extended all of those tax cuts for 2 years. Why? They were terrified. They didn't want to hurt the very weak economy during a time when Obama was running for re-election. The economy is worse now in terms of how it's looking than they thought it was 2 years ago. And the people who will insist on those tax cuts being continued for 2 years are the 20 Democrats in the U.S. Senate who are up for re-election in 2014. If the Democrats have any say in the matter, they will extend the Bush tax cuts 2 years. If they don't have any say, then they'll be extended indefinitely with a Republican Congress and a Republican president.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Grover, thanks for coming on today. Great to have you on set. You're usually not with us in the flesh. Thank you.